Hi everyone, so I thought I'd come back on and do a video. It might actually be two videos, so you'll have to look out for the second one if this one cuts off, okay? Because I've got a lot to bring in. This is all about the full moon in Libra that we've got going on the 6th of October, and I thought, you know what, there's an awful lot going to be happening over the next 6 months. What a better way to come back on and give you the heads up to what is going to be potentially playing out for each and every one of us, okay? Now, this isn't going to just be about collective reading. This goes far beyond that. This is actually, we're going to be looking at more of the global things that might be coming into play. I've done some interesting looks at the astrology around several of the countries that are big power players at the moment. And majority of what is going to be affecting us is going to be international. It's going to be globally, okay? And this is where things are going to start impacting our lives. Now, going back over to so many videos I've done in the past, this really is almost like a carry on, playing out, playing over the same situations of what we've had previously impacting our lives. Now, for those of you that have, and I always encourage you to look back over those videos, it kind of gives you a journey to where we are at the point now, okay, and how we've conducted ourselves, how we found ourselves where we are. Some of us are going to have tripped up, myself included, where we've kind of thought we were moving forward and then something comes in. Now, so many of the energies that we have got going on around us and what are going to be coming back into play, some of them, like you'll hear, for example, the Mercury retrograde. Yes, we've got the Mercury retrograde coming in. This time is going to be slightly different. For some people, yes, it will be frustrating. For others, it's going to be frustrating only because potentially where it's highlighting still where you remain in patterns, it's going to be bringing up, okay, yes, the review of where you've been before and where you are now. However, it's going to get you to reflect back on moments, things over the past year where you've kind of grown and developed and maybe just haven't finished clearing out cycles. Potentially a lot of this is going to be, I hate to say it yet again, all very much relationship based. But remember, the relationships start with yourself, okay, and how you are showing up within relationships around you. Now, this can be, again, with your work, it can be around your family. A lot of things here are going to be affecting some people around parental siblings, okay. Some of them are going to be where your work and your home life clash or collide, okay. One of the biggest tips that I can give absolutely everybody starting from now, okay, is that going forward, you're not going to go through the next 6 months where you are pushing people away, alienating yourself, trying to do things on your own. It's one thing to decide to be independent, be individual, do things, I can do this on my own, I don't need any help. Going forward, we're all going to need to work together. We're all going to be needing to work as a team. That isn't just like our one-on-ones. This does go across the board. It's about kind of like ensuring humanity as a whole is working together. Now, we're never going to get that, not with the energy that we've got in front of us, not how we see people behaving at petrol stations, let's just say. but majority of us are actually going to have to try to use our own rationale, take a step back and try to fundamentally take that deep breath, that sidestep, and try to kind of like view that as an outside distraction, how to navigate those types of things, kind of rise above. Okay, a lot of what we're going to be needing to do now is working within as a team, working together collectively, trying to make things as balanced as we can possible. Now, like I was saying, on the 6th of October, we've got this Libra full moon. This is all about, it's a massively powerful lunation. It's with the planets that we've got and the activity going on in and around it, okay? Libra represents everything about the law, okay? It's about justice, it's about equality, it's about balance, it's about relationships, okay? And how we conduct ourselves within our immediate and our external environments, okay? As long as we're doing the right thing, things should be okay. Now, what we're going to be finding over the next 6 months, okay, is massively about things to do with laws changing, where there's fairness and balance, potentially. Things coming up about maybe past law cases, perhaps things have been highlighted in the media. We may be hearing about new things coming in, okay? It's also about fighting for justice, fighting for equality, the rights and wrongs, karma. Now, that's one thing, but we've equally got Saturn, which has been retrograde, which will be coming direct, okay? Now, Saturn being a massive planet, the only planet that can outdo Saturn is Libra, okay, which makes this a very, very karmic time, okay? So being the fact that Saturn is coming direct, we've also got Libra here, the big powerhouse. Karmically, there are going to be cycles that are going to be under review, okay? We're going to be looking for that structure, that routine. We're going to be looking for fairness. We're going to be looking for how we can create stability in the fairest way. Now, we've also got what would happen where Pluto has been retrograde, which is suddenly at the same time going to be starting up momentum to be coming forward as well. Okay, Pluto will also be going direct. Now, where structures have been falling away, now we've all been seeing this, I'll use the petrol station analogy to be honest, okay, where ideally we should all have the right to be able to go to work. We should all be able to get what we need for our family. We should all be able to get from A to B without questioning those things, the resources, okay? However, around this, we've had situations where it hasn't necessarily been fair for those people potentially that have been driving the trucks. They've been fighting for just the basic needs, really, better pay, where they need to be getting their rest on their journeys. If they've been on long journeys, be able to pull over, get a shower, get somewhere safe to stay, not worrying about maybe people getting into their cabs, things like that. These are all things as well around that, where it's been about having European workers that have now had to go home and they're not able to come back, or their licenses have not been able to be renewed for whatever reasons, okay? So these were all legal implications. So what we're going to be seeing, just using that as an analogy, where it's not just one issue that's going to start coming up. as we've seen, there isn't just one issue. It hasn't just been CV, it hasn't just been about an injection, it hasn't just been about masks, it hasn't been just about kids having an education, the rights and wrongs. It's been much more than that. We've now got fuel shortages, we've now got people talking about, are we going to have things on our shelves? It's about immigration. It's about a big thing. What we're going to now start seeing, okay, is a lot more of this and a lot more being dredged up, okay. We're also going to be having, like I say, with Pluto going direct, okay, where there have been undercurrents, maybe there could have been corruption, things going on behind closed doors, maybe there's been things that haven't been highlighted yet, things that have been kept away from the public. These things are going to start coming up to the surface. Secrets, lies, emotions, hidden agendas, maybe new laws, new things. These are all going to start being presented as well, okay? These are going to be coming back up into the mix. We've also got a lot more things that are going to be coming in. As I was saying, around with the 10th, with Saturn going direct, okay, we've also got a lot more going on about social responsibility, okay, big issues, power resurgence, not just here, further afield. These things will start coming into play. On the 17th of October, okay, we've also got Jupiter going direct, and this is also about expansion. Now, Saturn constricts because it's about control, okay. Pluto transforms, okay. It's about complete death and rebirth, okay. So where things still need to be addressed, where they need to be gone back over, where they need to be, right, we've gone back over this, things need to now definitively change. This is where things will just get knocked out, okay, and it'll be abolished. It's, we're going to start a new structure here, we're going to do something else, we're going to bring something in here to radically change things, all right. Now, like I say, Saturn will constrict and control. Jupiter will expand this, okay, so it won't just be a little thing, it will be highlighted, okay. There will be radical change with these things. We've also got travel and freedom, and we've got human rights that are going to be, again, much more radically coming into play. Again, this can be reforms around things changing, again, very dramatically. We've had over the last 6 months previously, okay, 4 series of Aries Pluto square, okay. We're going to be going into the 5th and final exact square, and this is on the 9th of October as well. So all of these things are going to be coming in around the similar dates, okay. So it's going to be affecting globally and us immediately in and around all of this timeline, okay. This is about themes of huge activity, okay, in terms of control versus freedom. Are we going to be continuing forward, being under certain constrictions, restrictions? How are we going to be voicing up and getting our opinions, thoughts, feelings across? Are we going to stand for this anymore? Are we going to continue on with this? We've got so many things going on at the moment. It's hard to pinpoint, okay, in any one area where we're not going to get hit, okay. And a lot of this is going to be hinged on global events, okay, and how they steadily start affecting us in our immediate space. Now, I don't know if you remember, I was talking last year, and then again I brought it up earlier this year, okay, about how things are going to be dramatically changing. Now, I mentioned about the royal family, I mentioned about global travel, I mentioned to you about the moon in Cancer, the full moon in Cancer, okay, how it was about our immediate environments and how we were going to keep ourselves secure, feeling safe, our immediate environments, with the North Node, the Sagittarian aspect, where I said about travel restrictions. Now, I know there are going to be things about global travel. However, I don't feel there's going to be an ability for us to be necessarily going around our day-to-day, week-to-week, okay. Maybe business travel, maybe potentially having some form of travel, ability to go in abroad. But the way things are going to be so constricted and restricted, I feel that there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be coming in, okay, where we're going to be looking much more about our immediate environments and how we can actually enable ourselves to be a lot more growth around how we're paying our bills, how we're going to be getting around day to day, how we're going to be able to structure our lives in a much more substantial way. I don't feel it's going to be for many of us where we're going to be looking at travel holidays in a sense that that's going to be on the forefront of our agendas, okay. I feel there is going to be a lot of shocks and a lot of things are going to be coming in that, even though we've known about them, even though we've been aware of things, we've not maybe been paying attention as much as we should or could have been about how our lives are going to be shaken up, okay. Now, there is a lot of positivity coming in over the next 6 months. This isn't all doom and gloom, okay. It's doom and gloom in respect that, like I mentioned on one of my videos, I felt we're going to be going much more back to the kind of like latter part of the 60s to the early 70s, okay, where the things around strikes and protests and the unfairness to people speaking up, rising up, okay. For an example, like the shootings around protests in America, when people were saying about what matters, we matter, how we feel about things, being repressed. And I'm not talking about necessarily just the BLM, I'm not talking about racial injustices, I'm talking about humanitarian, full stop. If we look around the world at the moment, so we're looking at globally how other countries are being affected, humanitarian things such as the immigration, such as people in camps, such as people that have been going through the forest fires, rain, the volcanoes, things like with famine, all of those sorts of things, our shortages, people being repressed for speaking out, all of the things that are going on. There is a lot of things that are happening. What we're not seeing is behind that, or we are seeing it, but it's not being obviously brought to the forefront, is fundamentally, economically, how this is challenging governments, the people within those countries, how that is trickling out and actually going to start affecting us all. Now, we are aware actually, how many times over the last few weeks have we been seeing shortages? And I'm not talking about the fuel one, by the way. I'm talking about the things that are on the shelves generally. And then there are little things that are coming up, and everybody's talking about Christmas already, about turkeys and what have you. If we look about this a bit more broader, it's not just that. And even when we look at the weather and the climate at the moment, we're not having the beginning of autumn as we should be. We've still got quite high temperatures. So when we think about how normally we'd be getting our autumn winter vegetables, for an example, are we having the same weather conditions to be able to cultivate that? Okay, there are certain things when we're looking at stuff, how we manufacture, how we're creating, where there's a lack of people being able to do those jobs or are doing those jobs, so on and so forth. This is all having this trickle down effect. I feel like coming out towards the latter part of October, going into November, is significantly here. We are going to start hearing more and more, especially around the time of Neptune, okay, which is all around the media, okay, and this is about the media maybe exposing certain things. Now, I know they've been under scrutiny a lot, actually, the media, in terms of how they've been reporting things. There also have been some truths that have been coming out within the media, depending on where you actually look or what you're listening to, or if you kind of like start weighing things up yourself. Going into November, we're going to have a very different kind of like perspective on some of the things that we've been seeing or reviewing over October, okay. And I think a lot of this is going to be significantly where we start to see brand new cycles coming in. They may not be to our liking, okay. Now, going back onto what I was kind of saying about this Pluto, okay, going direct on the 7th. This is going to be quite a significant event globally for a lot of us, okay. I'm actually going to be putting down underneath this, or trying to attach it, or I'll put it up separately, okay, for you to view. Okay, where significant signs rule certain countries, and it's very ironic how at the moment a lot of the global events that are going on are actually involving the planets and the countries associated to these signs, okay. Pluto going direct, as I said, is like the FBI agent, okay, of the zodiac. It's like a forensic detective, okay, where it buries down, brings up all of the things that have been hidden and brings them up to the surface to be dealt with, to be looked at, okay. And then we've had Mercury going retrograde. This will also be going direct as well, okay. Now, the interesting thing is with this particular scenario going on here is how things are going to be coming up to the surface, how people are still, or I should say the governments, okay, the higher powers, okay, are going to be trying to control, significantly lay down laws, restrict certain things, tell us what's going to be going on. We'll be hearing about things that are going to be changing, changes that may be coming in. There's going to have this adverse effect, okay. Like I said, with the full moon in Libra, and looking and searching for this balance of power. Now, I equally think with this isn't just going to be our government with ourselves. this is going to be further afield and more global. Now, in February, okay, we've got Pluto having, America having its Pluto return, okay, and this is in February 2022, okay. Now, America, with having its Pluto return, and Pluto being the significant planet of transformation, death and rebirth, with everything that's going on at the moment, and like I said, we've got these planets now going forward, coming out of retrograde, okay, this whole situation with the full moon and this 6-month cycle, it's almost going to be where America can't sustain potentially the economy, which is where everything runs out of America, okay. And this is where we'll go back to, like I said, where I was looking over astrologically, where other countries are governed by certain astrological signs, okay, and the ones where there's been a lot of delegating, a lot of conversations, things have been going on where the heads of countries have been coming together, like the G7 conferences, things like that, where they've all been talking, colluding, having conversations about what's been going on, especially with the thing with China, Korea. We've just had Germany having their re-election about who's going to be coming in to take over there. It's very interesting what is going to be happening from now till next year in terms of where America is going to be going, in terms of how people are going to be looking at America, and what is going to be happening in terms of how that affects us all on a global scale. I feel like there's going to be some very, very significant, interesting collusions between different countries who may well decide to get into bed with whom, okay, and how, again, economically that is going to affect each and every one of us. Who's going to be siding with who? Are we potentially going to be ever dealing with countries in the same way as we have after all of this? America is certainly going to be coming into full view over the next 6 months. Now, this could even be, is this going to be a complete demise of Biden? Are we going to see a re-establishment of Donald Trump? Is there going to be a complete shock to what's going to happen within that arena? What I do say, or what I do feel here, is we are going to be going through a very, very turbulent next 6 months. Choose wisely, guys, in terms of where you're going to be placing your money, your jobs, people who you decide to move forward with. In terms of financial, what are you going to be doing? I mentioned this so many times last year in more recent videos that I've done in terms of finances, you know, getting yourself stable. What are you choosing to go into? What help and support have you got around you? Okay, because this is going to be pivotal. And like I was saying, trying to do things solo on your own is going to be very, very difficult. It's very, very important who you have around you and those people that you can trust. Go back to the petrol station scenario. Have you got people that you can rely on around you to get you out of situations should you need to. As I said, I'm going to put a little thing underneath that will be very interesting to see the countries and who they are actually ruled by in terms of the astrology, and to how we're going to see these themes playing out and how it affects those countries and what comes up over the news over the next few months equally. Now, talking about ourselves at the moment a little bit, going on to about this full moon in Libra on the 6th of October, okay? This is all about, like I say, connection and connectivity, okay? Relationships and money, all right? A lot of the things that this is going to be highlighting, like I said, I think you're going to get a little bit of an easier ride in one way, not so much in a different way, in terms of, like I say, if you are still within relationships, situations with people that are either primarily sitting on a fence, you're still having the same old conversations, be it at work, home, whatever, nothing's really changing and you're getting stuck in them same old cycles, there is going to be over the next few weeks significantly where I think that your patience is either going to run out or something significant will just come in, okay, make the decisions for you. Where the thing is with Libra, it will balance, it will sometimes keep dithering, sitting there weighing things up, and then finally something will come in, i.e. this Pluto energy, where it will transform it, either because you can have those conversations and you can kind of move things to the next level, agree to disagree, or finally bury that hatchet, or it will just completely like tear down those foundations and there ain't no going back, okay? There is no more negotiation. The decision's been made and you go your own ways, okay? There's going to be situations here where there are going to be some fraught tensions. There are going to be some scenarios which we have been seeing on forecourts, bringing that one up, where we've seen people arguing, fighting, going way over the top of the spectrum in terms of getting what they need, okay? A very selfish kind of energy. It's all about me, my needs, and what I need to be doing. Then you're going to be having the other scenario where, like I say, there's going to be a lot of volatility in terms of truth being spoken, things coming out, people not maybe accepting the things or the way things go. All I can kind of say to you is, if you're doing the right thing, you're kind of keeping your own counsel, you're going in with situations and able to kind of like step back, backtrack and weigh things up in your mind, being objective about, you know, really, is this worth even my focus, time and attention to be getting into on the grand scheme of things? You know, what is really important to me at the moment? You should be seeing opportunities now, or you will be given absolute definitive what is right and what is wrong, which way you need to be going forward, which way you just don't want to be doing that again. All right, now the gateway is open for you to be able to go, right, I can transform this. I can see where I keep getting pointed, but I keep staying in whatever, for whatever reason. There is so many options out there at the moment, okay? Some very, very positive options to get yourself out of stalemate situations, be that whatever it is, okay? If you have not learned from the last 2 years pretty much, everything that I've been presenting to you, everything that has been playing on and out around you, I don't know what else potentially anybody could say to you. There is no need for anybody at this point to still be stuck in a situation or situations, okay, that you know are not working. Okay, this pretty much now it is, like I said ages ago, you've got the next 7 years of your life in front now, where the situation from 2022, we're going to be seeing some big energy towards the end of December. Okay, now I don't mind actually putting this one out here. I feel that we will be going into another lockdown at the end of December, okay, of some degree. I feel like this whole situation around the fuel and that has actually been more so about, as we've been seeing, about all of this climate, this whole thing about getting people off the roads, about fuel emission, things like that. Okay, is another way to see what we need to keep things going, how many cars need to be on the road. You'll notice now, like as a saying about on the motorways, restricting how fast you can be going, all of these sorts of things about kind of bringing back the balance of what people need. Okay, what do you really need? What do you have to have? What is essential? Okay, i.e. essential workers. Who needs this? How can we keep things going? How can we sustain things? How can we keep things to a minimum? Okay, I go back to ages ago when I said about our immediate environments. We will be going back to our immediate environments. We don't need to be looking further afield. They're going to be trying to see what can we keep in, what do we need to be getting further afield, how can we sustain ourselves. All right, this goes back to finances, everything about keeping ourselves safe and secure. Okay, the same with our relationships. Okay, love starts with yourself. Okay, again, Venus in Libra. Okay, this is all about, as I said, when it comes to relationships, what do you feel you deserve? Because you will get what you allow somebody to give to you, what you accept. Okay, Libra is also, like I say, the balance, the scales. It's about reciprocal. It's about getting it right, getting it balanced. Okay, it's about union. We are going into union. We are going into collective. Okay, this is what Libra full moon is all about. It's about how do we get this whole balance right. Okay, it's working together. Now I say the relationships start with you. Okay, you have the power to choose, okay, what you're going to be getting into. What are you going to be creating going forward? What do you want? Forget about, at the moment, though it's very difficult, all of the things that are going on globally, because they're going to be impacting us. We ain't going to be able to do anything to control that. We're not going to be able to particularly do anything to change that. Okay, yes, we can go and join groups. I think there are going to be a lot more, by the way, of going back to online groups and people getting back on to social media if they hadn't continued doing what they were doing before, about getting posts back up, groups back up, collaborative stuff. There may also be some pretty horrible things that we hear about uprising and things on social media, that kind of thing also. Okay, there could be things to do with connectivity on social media that gets to the point where that will be inhibited as well, in terms of shortages, electric shortages, things about what we can use, what we're allowed to use. Okay, But the thing is, as a saying, with everything that's going on around our day-to-day, our immediate environments, what makes us happy, the unions we're in, if you're feeling that, for an example, at your work, let's just say that there's an opening or openings come up which get you out of an environment that has been pretty toxic, or you've noticed that the people around you have been particularly toxic and you need to move out of that, you'll probably start to notice there are openings, or you'll start to realise when you're away from those people that actually, do you know what, I've actually realised they're really draining my energy, draining my resources. I'm not happy when I'm around them, or when I'm around that particular associates or that person, my energy drains. This is another thing that you're going to start noticing more and more and more of now, okay? This again is indications to get you into something new. You will start noticing that there are openings to get you away. Now, whether you choose to do that, that is your own free will. But I can honestly say to you right now, there is so much energy here, so much opportunity here to move you into brand new cycles, even though immediately when we look on the telly or we hear on the radio or everything around us is pretty doom and gloom, there is a lot of stuff now that is open or has been open to bring in opportunities and will do to get you out of these cycles. Now, a lot of people, I think, are going to start seeing with dating sites, things like that, these are going to be maybe done in a very different way, or people are just going to abandon that way because they now want that connectivity. This is around the time now, like I said, it's very much about unions of countries, disassociation with certain countries. This is going to be unions as in unions springing up about freedom, fairness, workers' rights, things like that. This is also going to be about unions around your work, who you're collaborating with, brand new unions. It can be reunions, and it can also be partnerships. Okay, this is all about restoring and collaborative. This is about working together. If it does not work, it's going to go. If it does work, it's going to go to the next level. Okay, people are now going to want to step up and start finding where things are going to start going forward, moving in a more harmonious way. So when it comes to relationships, for those of you that are looking, those of you that are in them, even though things may be, okay, not going so well, or there have been a lot of pressures up to this point, this is the ideal time to start re-establishing your bonds by communicating, actually looking at where is this fairness and balance, or where is it not. Okay, what can you compromise on, what can you not. Now, I'm also going to say to you, this is, it brings around a lot of sexual tension. Okay, so if there has been some divide between maybe you and your partners, for whatever reason that may be, okay, this is a real positive time at the moment, okay, to actually start reconnecting, building that relationship back to a place where you can, like I say, there's that intimacy. Okay, you're rebuilding that bond. Relationships don't have to break down at this point. It may be that you've already had that space, or you've had that distance, or you've had that period to reflect over. Okay, this time Mercury going retrograde, okay, you've already done all of this. You've done it to death. You've done the prolonged agony. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Is it worth keep pursuing? By now you will probably be at the point of the situation where we can't talk about that compromise has already been done. And if I'm not able to go with it at all now. That door is shut. But for those of you that have kind of like gone through the worst of things with each other, okay, those of you that have done all of that work, this is a time now where you should be able to come back together and start building things and talking to things in a better way. That intimacy, that coming back together should actually start gelling, okay? Most people now that are genuine about relationships, okay, I'm not talking about the idiots on some of these dating sites. I'm sure there are those, okay, but those of you that have met people, those of you that are looking for those commitments, like I said, I think people are going to start now wanting to get out and about, more socializing, okay, getting to know and build and sustain relationships in a much more constructive way, okay? So this is where, again, like I said, things should start taking off, and people are now knowing a lot more about what it is that they want. They ain't got time for playing games, all right? Or you're going to be at the point where you'll know that ain't for me, see you later, that's what I'm looking for, and you go after it, okay? Things should start working a lot more effectively when it comes to meeting new people, sustaining relationships, and moving forward. I'm just trying to look over what else I can really sort of tell you. As I was saying, a lot of the things here, we've got a lot here around situations, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, squares going on here, expecting the unexpected, okay. We've got a lot of surprises, truths coming in, all right. Uranus comes in, surprise truth. Mercury going direct, bringing out facts, things being glaringly obvious. So like I said, things to do with relationships where maybe you've been ignoring situations, you've still been clinging on to them. Like I said, you've probably done this to death by now. This is where the final light boot out goes, okay. Things coming in, it's that karmic truth time, okay. If you've been suspecting things, there's going to be a lot coming up about gut feelings, all right. There's a fair few signs with going through situations with the 12th house, and this is all about the occult, this is all about the hidden, this is all about psychic, this is all about subconscious. So there are going to be those of us that are in situations at the moment where our sleep's affected. You may be getting headaches, migraines, feeling a bit kind of lethargic, tired, also waking up, maybe having some real bizarre dreams as well, okay. If those of you that are into it, dream journals, seeing what they mean, if you can remember your dreams, having a look at that. It can also be, like I was saying, where there are those people as well with the 12th house here. There'd be a lot of the things to do with the past that starts coming up more into the present. Again, normally with the Mercury retrograde, this would be where we're going over. These are going to be things that come up, okay, but you've already acknowledged them. It will be again where you're like looking at, but I'm here now, okay, how can I change going forward, you know, once and for all. This is kind of addressing those situations. Now, I said or mentioned, which just reminded me, okay, about the situation with mother and father. We've got Saturn, which represents the father. We've got the moon, which represents the mother, okay. We've got a very karmic thing going on around the astrology, okay, where a lot of truths with this Pluto thing about our emotions going under the surface, things that have been hidden, things that you need to say. Maybe those things about emotionally you've repressed a lot of your feelings in the past and you have worked through, but they again, there's every now and again something comes up and you revert back. You're aware of it, but you still need to kind of address that situation. What is it that triggers me? What is it that in the moment that is still inhibiting me and holding me back? And this can be doing with any area of your life. This can be around your work. This can be in relationships, okay? Where are you holding yourself back? Where are you still restricting relationships from going forward, okay? What is it when you're around certain situations or scenarios? What are you frightened of? What are you keeping away from? There are going to be a lot of key situations around families, okay, that could be coming up around children and parents, with your parents, and that doesn't matter on any age. This can be to do with inheritances, money, issues coming up in and around that. It can be to do with rivalry. It can be to do with, I hate to say it, but with some of this stuff and lawsuits, okay, and around the family stuff, this can also be to do with a lot of things coming up. And I mentioned this before actually, where I said around things were going to start coming up around children, and we have had several stories going on around the younger generation. This can also be to do with people that experienced, okay, so it could be adults that now start telling more about situations of sexual abuse, maybe things around families, things start coming around about historical events that start coming up, or things that were very difficult to deal with, and it's a reconnect. Those things start coming up and about, okay. This can also be about stories now where we start hearing, unfortunately, about situations to do with more things about that. It can also be where we start hearing maybe more commonly now about youngsters' situations, but also sex offences, okay, which I didn't really want to be touching on, but there could be space or stories coming out about sex offences, local sex offences, things like that. So just be keeping yourselves safe and stuff around issues around that. Now, just one other key thing here, those of you that are thinking about fixing things, mending things, expensive kind of repairs, okay, I'd probably say this isn't the best time. And if you can actually afford to get things looked into and repaired, or would it be best to buy new, okay, I would err away from doing any quick fix repair things, okay, especially on you things like your cars, high price tag items, okay. Try to get somebody else who knows what they're doing. I'm not saying you guys don't know what you're doing, but sometimes it is best, okay, to get an outside individual around this energy, okay, when it comes to the Mercury retrograde stuff. What I always say to people is, obviously, even though I'm saying it's not as it has been in the past, this energy here, I always err on travel, things like that, computers. When it comes to fixing things, just be a little bit mindful about what you're getting into. You can sometimes create more of an issue doing it yourself than actually getting somebody else to sort it for you, okay, especially with the Libra situation in play here, okay. So basically what I'm getting at in terms of issues here, guys, is fundamentally we've got absolutely a brilliant energy for connection. We've got a really, really good energy here to sorting out our relationships. We've got a really good energy here, okay, to repair things, get things back on track. It doesn't need to be as it has in the past, where it's miscommunication, although miscommunication can come up. But the beauty with this Libra and Venus in the mix here, and with Mercury here, there are going to be truths, okay? It's going to be very direct, but it's also about communication, about shifting things forwards. What do I like? What don't I like? Can we sort this out? The wanting to sort things out, the need to collaborate, the need to actually find the right connections and to connect with each other, okay? So if there have been issues, like I say, surrounding communication, maybe it is about just having that little bit of time. There is no urgency here to push things forward. If you are to push things forward too hard too soon, and with your agenda, without actually having that flexibility and that compromise and the willingness to sit down and listen and speak and to be truthful, okay, and to cut the old crap out, which most people probably now are wanting a bit of peace and quiet. They don't want the drama, and if you are involved with that drama, get rid of it. Okay, because now is not the time for that. Now is the time to establish those relationships that you know are right, that you know that you can go forward, that fundamentally most of those things are just little tweaks. They're just petty. How can you iron them out? Are there other issues that are going on around that? How can you actually balance it in a fair way? Okay, so each individual is happy with the outcome. This is what this energy is about. There's going to be enough other, basically, as I keep calling it, and excuse my language, but I'm just going to say, from October, basically, going into next year, there is going to be so much other stuff that is going to be going on that is going to impact our lives, okay, from looking at what's going on in America to how that's going to be affecting us, what's going to be going on with our own monarchy and what is going on with our government, okay, what's going on with Great Britain, okay, what's going to be going on around Europe. There is so much stuff that's going to be coming in that's going to be affecting us, okay. Get your relationships right. Most of you now should be out of that and in settled, established bonds and unions, or getting that way, all right? And if you've decided to be on your own, you should be having the connections and the right relationships around you, okay? If they ain't right, let them go, okay? Because it's for a purpose, and you will soon be getting into new connections and new groups and dynamics are going to be far more fitting for you going forward. I'm going to be going and doing a couple more videos, guys, and hoping to get them up ASAP. I'm going to put this little thing just for if you want to see for yourself, okay, where things might be coming up. I'm going to write a little piece and I'm going to put those countries and the associations with them so you can have a little look. I hope that's been helpful. If you've got any questions or whatever, you can always drop me a line. As I say, I'm going to go on to do some tarot stuff very shortly, and I'll be posting that up alongside this. So take care, guys, and I will speak to you very shortly.